Hello, I'm Sedina Caponelli, and I want to welcome you to another episode of Ageless Living, where we explore keys to joyful empowerment, wellness, beauty, and longevity. And we're live on Win-Win Women, a 24/7 multimedia network and a global movement, bringing care and connection and collaborating with billions of women worldwide. So welcome to Ageless Living. This is your place to recharge, be inspired, and supported to be your best self. So you can thrive no matter what time of life you find yourself in. And even if you're younger than 40, this may very well be the place that you want to be to grow into more innovative ways, to be even more beautiful and ageless yourself. So welcome, everyone is welcome, and also our global community. We welcome you. So this week, our topic is living an ageless life. I'm excited, very excited to have our special guest, Joan Borysenko, join us today. And together, we're going to explore what it means to live an ageless life with body, there she is, with body, mind, healing information, and age-empowered strategies that can help us experience ageless living and greater well-being in all areas of our lives. Sound good? So I encourage you to journal, raise your hand and respond in the chat in our first half hour. And then in our second half hour, we'll have a lively conversation, and this will be your time for comments, to ask Joan questions, and to share and with like-minded, like-hearted women in acceptance and trust. So since Ageless Living is about thriving in the present moment, we begin each episode with just a short pause as we celebrate this special moment of arrival together. And we do that, come into the present moment, and we breathe together in gratitude for being alive in this amazing world. So today, this is a very short version of the Inner Smile meditation. It's an ancient technique, which is a great tool for your Ageless Living backpack. And I like to think of it as a backpack filled with endurance and resilience tools and treats for our journey. So let's begin. And join me for just a couple of deep breaths together. And I invite you to focus on your heart and smile. Smile to your big heart. The heart opens with the sunshine of your smile. So keep smiling and feeling that healing, smiling energy expand and move through every cell and tissue and organ function of your whole body. And now send that smiling, healing energy out into the room that you're sitting in, the environment you're in. Breathing, smiling out into the city or town that you're in. Now out into the world that needs our healing, smiling energy so much. And now out into the universe. Send that smiling, healing energy out into the universe and feel the universe smiling back at you. Yeah, now come back to your heart. We let go of the tension of uncertainty and any inadequacy, and claim the wisdom and strength within us and all around us. Deep breath. We ground to Mother Earth. Lift to Father Sky. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and smile. The smiling brings healing endorphins throughout the whole body and oxygenates the brain. So remember to practice smiling and laughing often. So I'm glad you're here, very glad you're here. I invite you to stay with those calm, centering breaths now. Well, I tell you just a little bit about me so you have a better sense of what the Ageless Living show is all about. So I live in Santa Fe, New Mexico. I'm proud to be an award-winning author, co-founder of Age Nation, a company that inspires and supports people in the second half of life. We like to say people who weren't born yesterday. I'm an Ageless Living consultant and coach and co-producer and one of the presenters in the Ageless Living television series on PBS. It's airing nationally right now. If it's not in your region, call your PBS station and say, I want to see the Ageless Living television series. It's fantastic. And we'll talk more about that. Now that I'm in my early 70s, which is hard to believe, but it's here and it's here. I know it's time to share some enlivening, surprising, empowering things that have really served me so well all these many years. When I was younger, I was a professional actress for 15 years. Before that, a model. And for 30 years, I've been a practitioner and teacher of ancient and contemporary energy and wellness systems. I created a program called PEP, which is an acronym for Personal Energy Program. It's streaming on Gaiam TV, and it's a DVD, and it encapsulates my own personal practice. So I bring insights from those wellness energy systems, my Native American heritage, personal transformational work, corporate consulting, and inspiration from 5 of my co-authored best-selling books with my husband, George. And many of those books are right behind me on this bookshelf with tons of photos of my family. And they're here because I'm the oldest of 8 children, and I just love to have that energy around me. And also a lot of friends' photos. So that's what I'll be sharing with you on the Ageless Living show. And today, wow, we are in for a special treat. Joan Borysenko is with us, and she is one of the leading experts on stress, spirituality, and the mind-body connection. We could use that. She has a doctorate in medical sciences and cell biology. She's a licensed clinical psychologist and is the co-founder and former director of the mind-body clinical programs at the Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center, Harvard Medical School. She has so many books, wonderful books, and they're all pivotal, I might say, to the topic that she's discussing. Very pivotal books: Saying Yes to Change, 7 Paths to God, The Way of the Mystic, The Power of the Mind to Heal, Minding the Body, Mending the Mind, It's Not the End of the World, Developing Resilience in Times of Change. I love that. And her latest, The Plant Plus Diet Solution, although there's others that we're going to talk about. Joan's lifelong interest in mysticism and the world's religions culminated in co-founding the Claritas Institute for Inner Spiritual Inquiry. Joan is also one of the presenters in the Ageless Living television series on PBS. And that was a total joy. Her presentation, Mind Over Aging, was awesome. And we will talk about that. The most important thing that you need to know about Joan is that she is a spiritual warrior and a wise woman. And she's just dedicated to living in consciousness and love and helping people find greater wellness in all areas of their lives. So I am so grateful that we're friends and colleagues on this amazing journey, fellow travelers. So welcome, Joni. Thank you for being here. I'm going to just call you Joni.
Well, hello, everybody. Thank you, Sadina. Sadina and I are good friends, and it's a pleasure to be here and share this and celebrate everything Sadina has done to help people with aging. But I want to see you all. Those of you who wouldn't mind if you'd put on your camera, it would be great. I would really, really love to see those faces. And I see a couple of people I know. Heidi, also a friend and colleague of ours, and Suzanne. Hi, Suzanne.
Hi, Suzanne.
And hi, everybody else. I don't know, because until you come on, some of you, your faces, unless your last name is there, I don't know. But so, Sadina, what are we going to talk about today? We have a lot of choices. Oh, thanks for showing your faces. This is
Yay.
great.
Thanks
Thank you.
for being here,
Yeah,
everyone.
coming.
Well, Joan, we're going to talk about living an ageless life, and you're an expert in that. I have to say, tell us what comes up for you when you hear that. I mean, you in your Mind Over Aging program on the PBS program, Ageless Living series, you talked about a lot of amazing things. If you want to share that or whatever comes to you about living an ageless life, we'd all
Okay.
yeah.
All right. First of all, let me say I am 76 years old and I feel the effects of aging on my body. I'm not going to say something like I feel like being ageless is never having a body that changes. It does change. And I've found that I've really had to grieve that change and be present to that change because there's a wisdom in it. Probably like when Sedina introduced me, people always think, my God, she did so much, she worked so hard. And I raised two sons who were the most important thing for me. I did all that work. I traveled a lot and I burned myself out. And uh, you don't feel that ageless even when you're 50. And you have so many interests driven by good motivation, but you just do too much. And what I have found about the part of aging that I need to attend more to my own health. I have to attend to my exercise. I get tired more easily. This is the truth. The kind of exercise that I can do has shifted. Qigong is so great at this time of life, Sedina. Can do that to your last breath.
Yeah.
But what I is ageless living in a certain way means harvesting the gifts of every age and not giving into ageism. And that is saying, like, it's age, I can't do anything. At this age, I have had to learn voluntarily to slow down because life has become so much more precious. I want time to enjoy it. I want time to be more present. My husband had a heart attack almost a year ago today. Then I got diagnosed with a tumor that was thought to be ovarian cancer, and thank goodness it wasn't. But that was really a wake-up call to say, what is most precious? What is my priority? And to say, I can't do the stuff that I used to do when I was younger, to say, too busy to exercise today. I really have had to learn how to adjust my priorities. And I can truly say that this time of life has been the most amazing to me because how can I say it? I guess very simply, when I'm not present, I notice it sooner and do whatever it takes to become present. So all of the training about, the unruly mind, what you can do not to be taken in by the mind and live in a worried reality has really come to roost. And I think as you get older, the real priorities, at least for me, we all have to define our own, is the people that I love. And certainly being able to love and care for myself. And that makes me feel expansive and connected to something larger, whether it's out in the gardening or whether it's being with others. And I know that that's what also makes me healthy. that great sense of connection to nature, to one another, to the wisdom within. And so that to me is ageless. I guess being in tune with wherever you are in the cycle of life and harvesting the wisdom that that time brings to you. That's ageless, as it goes throughout all the ages. And of course, Gina, you're an expert at bringing the ancient wisdom in. So that, that's wonderful. And that helps us throughout the life cycle. But one of the things, I'll just say one more thing and then shut up.
No. This is about you. You just keep talking. I love it.
One of the things that I want to talk about, first of all, is the work of Ellen Langer. I was at Harvard for many, many years at a time that it was really tough to be a woman in academics. And during the time that I was at Harvard at the medical school, I met people from the psychology department, which is another campus. And I met this really cool woman, Ellen Langer, one of the most fascinating people in the world. Now she is, I think, the longest chairman of the Department of Psychology at Harvard. I think she may be the longest woman chairman of any department at Harvard. And she really talks about mindfulness in a slightly different way than how you hear it. But it's in her mind, really being conscious and tuned in to what is, because her idea is that we're all so distracted and our minds are going so many places that we're completely capable of being misled, forming strange beliefs, our consciousness going to weird places. And also we become prone to, propaganda and all of that sort of thing. But what Ellen did is a number of experiments about the power of attention. And one of them culminated in a book called Counterclockwise. And that is, your attitude can make you older than your years or younger than your years. And that's for sure. I know people my age at 76 who are still out there running marathons. And I know people who have become so frail that they can barely get around at all. Yeah. Some of that, of course, is genetics. Some of it is life experience. But it turns out a great part of it is where you put your attention. And where you put your attention comes home in what you believe. So what Ellen did, one of her first experiments, was to get a hold of an old monastery up in New Hampshire. She lives in Massachusetts, of course, because she teaches at Harvard. But she took a group of men there on a couple of occasions. And what she did was one group of men just came and, that she had cars from the era when they were in their prime, 30 years previously. She had newspapers, they had DVDs, they had all kinds of stuff. And she just kind of let that be and let them be in that time. That was the control group. But the other group, she really said, let's embody this period of time. And at breakfast, they'd talk about the headlines in the paper, the politics of the day, what was going on in their lives at that time. They would really get into it and focus their attention on how they were. And at the end of the week, they scored better on a variety of tests of well-being. And she said, there were guys who came with canes, and at the end of the week, they were playing touch football. And this became a book. And then she collaborated with a group at Yale that had been studying longevity for a long time. Becca Levy from the Department of Public Health and Psychology at Yale. One of the cool studies, it just came out 2 years ago, that Becca Levy's group did was mind over genetics, which I think is kind of interesting. So there's a certain gene called ApoE4. And if you happen to have multiple alleles or copies of that gene, it predisposes both to heart disease and also to not Alzheimer's per se, but cognitive decline. And the people in her study, and it was a large study, so powerful, large study, were already in their 70s, and she followed them for 4 years. And in a nutshell, what she found is that people who had a positive view of aging and, you know, really were harvesting the wisdom of this time in their life and thought in a positive way about where they were in the life cycle, these people did not develop heart disease or cognitive decline. They were the same as other people. But the people with that gene who had a negative view of aging, and, you know, were constantly thinking, oh God, I'm decrepit, this is terrible, this is the end, I'm useless, I'm invisible, I'm, you know, the things that probably most of us say occasionally, but they dwelt in that place. And these are the people who had a really significant increase in heart disease and cognitive decline. And, you know, we also know, and what Becca Levy found out, is the people with positive attitudes toward aging, if they had a surgery or, you know, a fall or something like that, an illness, they recovered 44% faster, and the healing was more complete than people with a negative view of aging. So I think that's kind of interesting. So I'm always watching my own mind because, of course, you know, look, there are times when I get up in the morning and I think, my God, I'm so stiff, I'm going to freeze in place. And then I think, but isn't it great? I'm still up and walking. And after a Tylenol and a little stretching, I will feel great. I'll be good to go. That's what it is. So it's important, I think, at all ages to just watch your self-talk and notice what's going on in there. And then do your best to make a choice. Like, okay, do I want to dwell in this? Or would I like to change my mind to another channel? And, you know, I'm sure, Sadina, you must have taught some wonderful tools already for noticing what's going on in your mind and choosing to change it. And it's just, we have to use those tools more, I think, as we grow older, because the people we know are nearing the end of you know, kind of middle age. And we're all entering older times together in this ageless living cycle. And there's grief attendant to that. I just had a friend leave yesterday whose husband died a year ago, and we wanted to have her here during the anniversary time of her husband's death. And of course, you know, when our friends suffer, when our friends get sick, when our friends die, it reminds us of our own mortality. And then we have to say, okay, this is good to have a reminder. Life is precious, but there's also the grief to deal with. So we need our mind tools. We did, by the way, a wonderful ritual for our friend David and a lot of storytelling. And I have to say, his wife has done remarkably well in a period of grieving and remaking a new life. And I do think as we age, at each stage, we're remaking our life, making new decisions about how to spend our time and finding new things. So I'm going to end my little riff here, completely unplanned riff, on what has really surprised me, and that is new hobbies. I never really had time for hobbies. I used to knit. I was the kind of knitter, look in my closet, there was no room for clothes because there were 15 uncompleted knitting projects. But we live in Santa Fe, and once I had admired this steer with horns that had been mosaicked, and I thought someday I am going to do that. And finally, had more time between the pandemic and doing less work out of choice. And I have discovered my love for mosaic art. I'm on my third project.
Yeah. And they're fantastic. They are just so beautiful.
No,
It was,
my artist self. Thank you, Sedina.
it's true. I was so surprised to see.
Can we see?
Oh, it's too big. I'd have to carry the computer into the living room. Would you like
and they're so creative. It's like, it's a whole new genre. I just love it. It's so creative and colorful, and it's you. It's really you, Joan.
Oh, thank you,
I
Sedina.
love it. You know, and I really love what you said. All the things, Ellen Langer is amazing, and just everything about the attitude is so right on, because I look at it as having a quiet optimism, you know, and inheriting our true power, which is really unlimited, and we're each incomparable. But yeah, we have all these things taking place, and we need to just be in the present moment. And acceptance is where I have to go now. I need to go just to stay in love and compassion for myself. So in a couple of minutes, we're going to have our second half hour. So please stay with us, because that'll be your time to participate, time for your comments and questions for Joan. So stay with us. And I invite you also to follow your heart. I mean, you've heard some wonderful things from Joan that can help you. And I want to invite you to also just follow your heart and do the things that work for you. This is something I shared with you earlier. I have a DVD and also a jump drive. It's the PEP program. I've been doing this since 1990, and it works for me on every level of my life. It's just keeps me resilient, keeps me flexible. I practice some part of it or all of it every day since that time. And you can see all the benefits of this program. And if this, works for you, I invite you to check it out. Or anything that you're drawn to, that your heart tells you, oh, that's something, whether it's Qigong, whatever, yoga, biking, just do something to keep those trillions of cells moving. And that's what, that's what keeps us young, really. And it keeps us wherever we are in our life at our peak. So remember to do whatever that is. So that's also on my website, if you can see that here, AgelessLivingSeries.com. It's a long one. Sedina Caponelli /Sedina Caponelli. There's my phone number and email. Please call if you have any questions. I'd love to hear from you. There's 3 free gifts there. Please access those. And I also offer story medicine retreats on our land here in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And we have a medicine wheel. And that's a beautiful way, a transformational way, really, to pull in the threads of your personal story and it informs your destiny. And it's all done in nature. And it's just a wonderful gift to give yourself. Lodging's available at our casita here on the property. Call me with any questions. So that is what we have for now. And we're going to move into our next portion of the show. I've been hearing an interview with Joan Borysenko, and I'm Sedina Cafanelli. And I'm just so delighted that you're here. So we're going to move